welcome to Make It So, a channel discussing Warhammer 40k Crusade rules. For the next few weeks, I'll be discussing my primary army, the Orcs. I'll cover a few key topics and try to do the same format for any other codices I manage to buy, borrow or steal. So if that intrigues you, this is YouTube, you know what to do. There are many good channels out there discussing tournament tactics, and we know some lovely combinations can be crafted. But an interesting part of Crusade is being able to explore the lesser used traits and relics by giving them to secondary characters. Now, if my Warlord is a beast boss and Squigosaur, he is having brutal but cunning. I would never insult him so much as to give him something like Big Gob. However, what Warlord trait might you give a Pain Boy? Follow me, lads. I don't really want him running in first as a watch fodder. I may not even want him in the fight at all, as long as I can keep some boys in range of his Docs Tools aura. And we have a use for Big Gob. Now, thematically, I'm not sure what help a Big Gob will be to a surgeon, unless he yells, "'Tis but a scratch" to the wounded boys and they get up and carry on, but I digress. Now, speaking of follow me, lads, that one I might put on the knob on Smasher Squig. It's already been mentioned on tournament channels that this guy, with his potential for 5 mortal wounds on charge, is great for finishing off wounded characters. Using the unstoppable momentum stratagem then lets him barrel right on into somebody else. Now imagine, after killing a character and charging a new target, he could help another squad reach that same target too. If the character was close in the unit, he could make 2 small charges to assist the squad in making the one long charge. Situational perhaps, but certainly interesting. Might is Right is a nice simple upgrade for any orc character, and Arthur's Nails is great for creating a durable target, a build I've leaned into heavily with the Big Mech leading my current crusade, but we'll return to him in a later topic. The Beast Gob aura is a great one for anyone who wants several units of Squiggle Boys and has some Nobs and Smasher Squigs to lead some of them. Junk Boss is a nice 4-up invuln save, but any normal Warlord would have a 5-up invuln anyway, so I'd usually take a better choice. But when I can pass Warlord traits out like candy, yes, giving support character like a Noble Warband at 4+ invuln, that sounds like a good idea to me. As for clan specific traits, well, proper Killy and the best armor thief can buy are like Might is Right and Junk Boss, nice to hand out to characters who normally wouldn't enjoy such benefits. With faster than use on a support character, and you could put it on a cheap runt herd hiding some grots, get him into the centre of the board, and he can then play traffic cop, barreling your bikes from one flank to the other. Surly as a Squigoff can keep a support character alive. I'm less impressed with Opportunist, though I suppose it could tag well with the Dead Shiny Shooter. The Blood Axe trait is a very interesting trait, but has absolutely no benefit beyond deployment, so it's such a waste on a war boss compared to other options. But again, give this to a runt herd and it's an absolute bargain. Who cares if the enemy kill him turn 1? He's already imparted his wisdom, his job is done. I may have to call my Blood Axe runt herd Baldric if I do a crusade with them. Finally, we have Killer Reputation, which doesn't seem outstanding on its own, but if accompanied by a squad which has picked up the battle trait Gnarly Scars, I can see that being quite entertaining. When it comes to relics, most already have their obvious uses. We won't be giving Scorched Git Bones to War Boss, for instance. But whereas we may not be sure if it's worth being one of only a few relics, when anyone can have them, it's much more tempting, especially when building towards the Crusade relics you can earn. +1 to cast a Witchfire is nice, but not critical. But when combined with a Copper Skull Cap, where a Witchfire cast on 10+ gets to be resolved twice, we have something very interesting. I've added this to my Crusade force, although I don't have the Skull Cap yet, but I've given my weird boy the Crunch. This is a Witchfire that casts on 6 but does twice as much damage on a 9. While with the Scorched Git Bones, that 9 is a 10, which means it does twice as much damage, twice. The Super Cyborg Body is a great partner to the Ardent's Nails Warlord trait, and when you can throw in Crusade relics like Dead Hard Armor and Artisan Bionics, we're producing an absolute tank, and I haven't even covered battle traits or the Orc rules for Might Makes Right, which we'll get to in a later video. There are some good killy weapons in the Orc relics, but before you start sprinkling around like confetti, do bear in mind you may want some depth. Sure, I could give the Killer Claw to a Pain Boy, but if I later decide to add a normal war boss as a cheap option for some games, rather than running my Squigosaurus every time, I may well miss having that in the armory. Of course, some are great for someone who wants to stay out of harm's way. If you go back to my Blood Axes and Baldric, we've already got his Warlord trait to redeploy several units, so he's useless now, right? Well, not if we give him more Grog's Thinking Cap. Stick him behind some line-sight blocking scenery and backfield and he'll quietly farm your command points all game. I would never suggest such an ignominious role for a war boss, but run herd, go nuts. Anyway, we've covered most of the basic Warlord traits and relics, and hinted at some of the possibilities that can be explored once we've played a few games and have some XP to spend. So keep an eye on the channel, and we'll for that one, and we'll in the meantime, make it so.